All right, here we go. On page Ration and Test. Now, here we're talking about the creation of the creations that come from the yichud of these klipos. And I think they're creating ruchos, rows. And we have to think about what that refers to us because we don't recognize it necessarily, but there are kinds of ruchos that enter into us all the time. So he said, "B'pasuk now Messiah v'sanugos." So he wants to say this is feminine. B'nei Adam shida v'shidos. So he says that the production of different kinds of shadim. And before b'nei Adam, and explains that b'nei Adam is remizachu b'hai ruchim achronim. This is talking about another kind of spirit that affects our imaginations. Let's see how it goes. So when they had that word, the b'nei Adam, who k'dei l'ramos b'pasuk zecha b'gam ruchos secherim and nekrayim nigoy b'nei Adam. So he says that with the b'nei Adam is a general category, so to speak. There's also another category called nigoy b'nei Adam, the plagues of man, things that plague us. Vein elu haruchos the shtei zonos, and so these two ruchos, which are the two harlots, Hamrumazan b'milat v'tanugos, which is referenced by the fact that the word tanug is written in female, b'losh and nekeva. So he says now, so we have these three players in here. Elohim shadim zacharim v'nekevas, but we're talking about male and female shadim. Haluladim al yedera his chavros klipos ashtei zonos b'bnei adam b'tachtonim. So he says that these shadim are produced as a result of, I'm going to jump and say that it's of shvichas erel v'tol. And the words are ayideh his chavros, because they join these klipos, who are harlots, b'bnei adam tachtonim, with humans. V'hem yotzem ayideh his tanugos b'nei adam, because they entertain people. B'chiburim im hashtei zonas, that is, when the people become joined together with these two harlots. These are, of course, we're talking about shadim and shadus. What was his word? Whatever that is, male and female shadim. But here we're talking about the female ones. So here it is. So he says that the real joy, the pleasure that they're able to give of man is the shida and shidas kolomish al yedecha betanugut bedecha ada, but this tainug that people have his chavros imazonos, with these fantasy, they're really fantasy zonos. We're talking about here hurim roim, right? Noldim shida v'shidos. As a result of this, it produces more demons. Shehem shadim zacharim v'nekevas are different types of demons. Va'amar, which are evil spirits, ruchos, breaths, ideas, imaginations. Shehi sod hey elyona, which is the concept of the, what did we get to hey elyona? Nukva detzil. Now I skipped a page, I guess. I'm sorry, I skipped a page. V'amar o, then it says furthermore, sheish hevdel bein ruchos hashtei zonas, the ruchos and the goy b'nei adam. So now he says there's something else. There's this plagues of man, and the zonos are two different things. There's a difference. He says sheyesh hevdel. Ki ruchos hashtei zonos nichlalo ayidei Shlomo ba'adam the Atzilus. Shlomo HaMelech was able to incorporate them into the Bnei Adam of Atzilus and of Zeranpen, I guess. Ruchos the Negoy, which is on the side of Kedusha. The ruchos the Negoy Bnei Adam, but the ruchos that come for the plagues of man, that plague man, no nechlalo l'malo, they never make their way into Atzilus. Commotion meromah b'pasuk now with this pasuk she'amrecha kanasti li, they came into me, or brought them into me. And then it goes on and it brings in this sanugos, this concept of the harlots. Adam involved. Now let's see what he says. I didn't quite follow this. He doesn't write v'tanugos ubnei Adam. It does not written like that, as if they're two different things. Im osvav v'chibur, which would join them together. That the Bnei Adam are also incorporated up above. The same, in other words, they're purified or sweetened in some way. Bnei Adam, but it just says Bnei Adam, just men. Below Ozvav Chibur. The Ramaz, to give us a hint to this, the ruchos negoy b'nei Adam, that the ruchos that come from the plagues that are plaguing man, ein nichlal mamala, they never become sweetened. Now, exactly what this all means, I'm not sure. So let's see if we can figure out a pathway to apply it to ourselves. He says that the harlots themselves are sweetened by Shlomo HaMelech, but they have an offspring, which seems to me possibly means the shadim. They don't get sweetened up. The lo iskalala b'chachma yilo. Sharuchos negoy b'nei Adam no nechlala b'chachma chalyona. They never make it into a tzilus shehin nukva the tzilus, which is malchus. They never make it their way into purity. The fish shehem ruchos anolada metipas azachar hayotze chas v'shalom lebatala v'lona konukva. So for ayidei kach, and so therefore for this, yotzim chatz v'sholem gam lamalo neshamas mezer anpin belvad. So what does this produce? It produces a situation where the seed is produced only in zer anpin. Let me read his word. V'ayidei kach yotzim, they come out the chatz v'sholem gam lamala in olam atzilus neshamas mezer anpin, which are neshamas, they come from zer anpin belvad without a nukva. They're not male and female, which everything has to be male and female. So bilvad ve'ein nechlale b'chachma al yana shehi hanukva, and they never get incorporated in the upper chachma, which he wants to say. Now this is also a creation of a word. The chachma al yana, he says, is the nukva is malchus. V'amar ods, in other words, if you're in bria and you're looking up, you're going to see this tremendous amount of chachma, which is maybe, this is my words, maybe pooled into malchus, that you're not able to make it. I'm just trying to figure out why he used the word chachma al yonah to reply it to malchus. So he says another reason is this. So what does that phrase mean? It sounds like he made Shlomo a smart guy. Perusha shezacha Shlomo l'sod chachma al yonah. So here he wants to say specifically that he merited the nukva tzilus, which is malchus. He's going to explain it further. So he said the Sivan, it's written like this: because of Od, V'yach came Kol Adam, that he was smarter than anybody else. He had more chokhmah than anybody else. This kala the chachma the bria benukva the chatzilus hanikvas Adam. So go through the words that what he's able to do with this chachma, which is his access to malchus. Nichlalo chachma the bria, he's able to take the chachma that's in bria benukva the chatzilus into malchus hanikvas Adam, which is called here Adam. V'zechon sha'amar kala Adam koloma. This is what it says: kala Adam, all the man. Kolomer klala the Adam. So you have a question right away. Is that how was, or did he talk about this before? That he talked about Adam, the word Adam referring to Malchus instead of Zer Anpin. So it's because Malchus has Zer Anpin inside of her? Could be that. I know we saw something about this, but I don't remember it. V'zecha kala Adam. This is what it means, all the man. Kolomer klala the Adam, the whole general man. He's going to get into this more and try to help us out understand it. So then when that happens, and that man, he's able to bring the chokhmah of Bina, or of Bria, into Atzilus, then you have this sweetening, Nichlalam Gama Shtei Zonas Ba'adim, the Atzilus is able to bring the Zonos into the Malchus of Atzilus, V'kevish Shtei Zonos, Heim b'chachma b'bina shall olam abriya canal, because they're the chachma brina over lavia abriya. V'ayedecha b'chachma Shlomo shehi b'chachma debriya. So now let's go back through the chachma of Shlomo. What's the chachma of Shlomo? He said. I thought he just said that it has to do with his ability to be able to reach Atzilus. So now he said, V'al yedecha b'chachma shlomo, shehi b'chachma de bria, it's in the chachma of bria. Nechlalo lamala b'nukva detzila. So he wants to say that is the chachma of Shlomo. The thing that's got me a little stopped here, he said, V'al yidei chachmas Shlomo shehi b'chachma de bria. So he says the chachma of Shlomo is in the chachma of bria. He doesn't say that it is the chachma of bria. He says it's in the chachma of bria. So it means to say, I'm thinking, that he means to say that the malchus of Etzilus is in bria. It's in the chachma bria. Nechlalo lamala b'nukva detzilus, and as a result of that, it's able to bring them into a situation where they become incorporated into the nukva detzilus. Amna negoy b'nei adam. Now let's go back over to this, which is the shvichas zera the v'tala. No nechlalo az lamala, but it doesn't make it up into the upper world. Mishum the hani lo is kalolo b'ada, because they never make them into this. They never able to incorporate it back in to this Adam, which he said before is Malchus. Mishum shehem lo nechlalo b'chlala de Adam de Chatzilus hakol docha v'nukva yachad. So now he wants to say that is the vort that he said previously. Is that why could he say call Malchus the Adam de Tzilus? Because there is a Zachar inside of her, and so they're together as one. Ki negoy b'nei Adam yatzu rak bebechinas zer anpin, because they only come from a different level. The level of Zer Anpin, Shehu Dechura Bilvad Belocha V'Nuka Kanal. And that's the problem, that it's only male, no female. So therefore it can't be rebuilt through the Chachma Shlomo, Shehi Besod HaNukva Kanal, which is the secret of the Nukva. Now let me just read this again. He says that the Zer Anpin is Shehu Dechura Bilvad Below Nukva Kanal. That's an important idea. So therefore, since it can't be, the Adam Ha'elyon is the Zachar V'Nuk, and so this is just purely Zachar in some way, and as a result of that, it can't be incorporated. So now let's go back. He's going to start analyzing these pesukim again, and he says the Hine. L'chora, aim soifrim zeh, soifrim zeh. Shahar Masha and Amber b'pasuk of Rishon, what it says of Hashem nason chachma. The Hashem gave chachma. That's what it was the Shlomo. So they gave this chachma to Shlomo. Hashem ilah. What does that mean? Hagavana the chachma al yonah shal nukva detzilus. So it means the chachma al yonah once again. The zachar v'nukva detzilus. I guess zachar v'nukva. My words. Shehi so hey Hashem hey el yonah or Hashem el yonah. Then the first it says V'Hashem nasan chachma. So he has this chachma. So now he says he's so chachma or hey el-yona, or I don't know what he means. This hey el-yona. But what it says in the second pasuk, V'yach came Kala Adam, and he became more chachma, had more chachma than anyone else. Hagavana the chachma tachtoin de bria. It's talking about the chachma of bria. Ki chachma de bria he bebechinas kol adam. It's the concept of all man. It's again these words. I'm not sure how to understand them. But so klala de adam is that. So once again, the words are ki chachma de bria he bebechinas kol adam. It's the concept of the all of the man, the whole man. Klala de adam. The fish al yedeh bechachma de bria. The chlalas habriya hanikra behema. So again, the words are that through the chachma of bria, the chlalas habriya hanikra behema, im hanukva the chatzilus hanikra adam. So you need this chachma, the chachma of bria. So that's the place where Shlomo HaMelech can reach or is standing. Besod adam behema toshiach Hashem, which is the concept of Adam, which means the Malchus, which has the Zer Anpin inside of her, which is in Etzilos, and then the Behema, which is in the Olam Aparut, but they can come together. So that the answer to this is Ki ha'emes hi Shlomo lo nischachem b'chachma al yoyneh ba'oidech l'mala b'Etzilos. While he was still in Etzilos, or while it is still in Etzilos, he's not able to join together with it when that Malchus is only in Etzilos. The minah is chachem l'santa. Aval nischachem b'chochma de nukva de chatzilus hayoredis lemata b'chochma de bria. But that's what he means to say. That Shlomo HaMelech was able to reach this the level of this chochma. And this chochma is able to pull up these two women zonos, which were associated with apparently with the chochma bina of bria. He's able to pull them up because he has access then to the Adam. Besod Yud Zeira, the Nukva, this is the concept of the little Yud of the Nukva, the Chatzilus, the Yeredis B'Bria, that goes down into Olam HaBria. Vayinyan the Hagam, that whereas the Makom Chachma Shlomo, that when we talk about the Chachmas of Shlomo, who rock B'Chachma the Bria, so understand this, that Shlomo is able to reach the Chachma the Bria, but the Chachma the Bria could have a relationship with this Yud, the Zeira, the Nukva, the Tzilus, that goes down into Bria. So he's able to be a part of that. But so klala the Adam, like he's the incorporator, the Adam of the man, that is of the Nukva the Tzilus. The Bria, the Mata, lihis chachem, gam b'chochma al yonda the Nukva. So there, as a result of his access to the Chochma Bria, which is in the lower world, in the world of Parud, he's able to access the Chochma Elyona, which is the Chochma of the Nukva Datzilus. She yarda lamata, because that's what happens every night, is that she goes down and she's there. Shahare shtei Chochmos elu nechlalo yachad lamata, so that we see that down below the two become incorporated together. But he's saying in Olam HaBriya. So when you have the Yud, this little Yud that comes down from the Malchus of the Tzilus, and it's able to join together in a unity of some sort with the Chachma of Bria. Okay, now we're going on, and let's try to read a little faster. Kavarnis bar la'el, inin hanifilim and nizkarim b'pasuk. So now we're going to go back to Nephilim. So hanifilim choye ba'aretz. So what do we got here? Shehem arba Nephilim. There are 4 Nephilim. Shenafnu lamata ba'olam hazeh. Into this world they fell, into our world. V'nologa yedecha b'kiba aklipas dechurecha nendikroyim b'decha b'Elohim. Im aklipas nukfim and nikroyim b'nosa Adam. So we've said this several times, that the yichud of these two sets of male and female klipos produce these Nephilim. Kamo shene'ema behem shekapasach asher yavu b'nei Elohim, that the b'nei Elohim el b'nos Adam v'yoldu lachem. Now this is the pasuk. He's brought this in, dropped it in several times here. Kolomer shehanephilim noldu al yedecha b'biyas b'nei Elohim al b'nos Adam. So this is where these Nephilim come from. B'hatem evaris siyam a pasuk. Now let's come and look at the end of this pasuk. V'yoldu lachem Hema Hagiburim Asher Ba'olam Anshe Hashem. So then we have to go over these words, because it's always very mysterious in the Torah when you see this. They gave birth to these Giburim, these mighty men, Hashem Ba'olam Anshe Hashem, which are called, that are in the world, and they were called Anshe Hashem, men of name. V'huki Masha Omer B'Pasuk Hema Hagiburim. Let's take that part. They're powerful men. Haim Ashishim, there are 60, he says, 60 Giborim Shahoya Besoda Nephilim, that are the secret of the Nephilim. The V'Shorish Mesada Klipos Hadechurim and Nikroim B'nei Elohim. So then we say that the Klipos on the male side, where do these Nephilim come from? V'Shorshim, there's root, in the Klipos and the Kurim, which are called B'nei Elohim, Shehem B'Bechidas Chachba Ha'Babina Dezer Anpin, Shal Olam HaBriya, which is Olam HaKlipa, or the Olam in the Klipos there, HaBriya HaNekroim, Yama Rabba V'Tehuma Rabba. So they're called by those two names. Now, just let me do it again, because one little part is, Haim Shishim Giborim, Shahaya Besoda Nephilim. V'Shorshim Betzad Klipos HaDechurim and Nikroim B'nei Elohim. So they come from the male Klipos. Sheheba Bechidas Chachma Bina, the Zer Anpin, which is the Chachma Bina of Zer Anpin, Shalom Alabriya of the Klipos. Hanikroim Yama Rabba V'Tehoma Rabba. So these two are called by those names. The commotion is Bar La'el. We went over this a little bit before. V'hine shishim giborim elu heim keneged sheish kitzvot shel zer anpin. So these 60 really correspond to the 6 kitzvos of zer anpin. Ki kol echad meshesh kitzvos elu kolu ma'eser. So now you have 60. V'harei heim olim yachad the misbeshishim v'omba behem shekapasuk Hashem ma'olim. So that were from the world. Now, me'olim. He didn't say ba'olim, he said me'olim. And before the haino, this would mean to say what? He said, olam de la'elo. He said, for they're coming from that upper world. Shahagiburim bo ma'olam ha'elyon. They come from the upper world. What's upper world does he mean? It sounds like he means Atzilus. Da'afal gav shemakom shoresh hagiburim hu ba'olam ha'briya. That even though we understand where we find the root of the giburim, is in olam ha'briya. Kamar im kalzer yesh techem shorish gam ba'olam ha'elyon, but they have a root in Atzilus. Tam b'yen dehayle b'sheish kitzvot shazer anpin dechatzilus and nikra olam. So really, they're originally there, but he says this. It's hard to say this. And he said their root is in Bria, but they really come from the zer anpin of olam Atzilus. V'amar ha'pasuk. Oh, then the pasuk goes on and says like this: they're called also Anshe Hashem. Shenis nagum b'shmo. That is nahagon, that they run the world in his name, in that name. Pirusha shegiburim elu misnagim besod shem Elohim. The way they work the world is the word name Elohim, which is lashon din. Va'inyan, so how's it go? Ki av sheyesh lachem shorish bezer anpin dechatzilus. So let's say now he's changing the word. He says there's a shorish over there too. Shuhu sod shem havaya, which is that the shorish is really in Rachmanas. Im kol zecha b'shorish hanhagos elu hagiburim, but the root of how they work, the hagibur, the klipos, heim ba'olam habriya, winds up that where they're actually the action of these is found in olam habriya, shehus besod shem Elohim, which is a place where we have the name Elokim manifest. The l'kach nikroim giburim, so therefore they're called giburim, lashon gibur, gevura. Ela Anshe Hashem Stam v'locha v'Anshe Havaya. They're called Anshe Hashem, which means the Shem Elokim, and they're not called the Shem Havaya. Kamosh Yavor Lofanenus. And now we're going to get into it. V'var Mai Shema. So let's talk about that. What's its name? So he said V'chabamachu Hashem Stam Shehizkir HaPasuk. So it just says the word Shem. Shema Kedisha is Nagam Be Delo Kedishin Lesata. So we're running out of time again. Shuhu Shem Kadosh. So, but it takes some time to try to fit all of this together. So he said Shema Kedisha is Naga Rabebecha Delo Kedishin Lesata. Shuhu Shem Kadosh V'hainu Shem Elohim Shal Olam Abriya. Shuhu Besod Eitz Adas Tov V'Ra, which is the Eitz Adas Tov V'Ra. And I think I'm going to stop here because of my mind. And we'll come back onto this again. Here we're talking about the powers that really rule us that come from the klipos. And getting to its root. Okay, thank you very much for learning with me today.